Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today is no longer news that Lagos-based human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi has been arrested by police for defamation. First of all, fingers were pointed at Tony Lumelu, but then after a while, the whole thing came out clear that it was actually Are Efe Babalola, senior advocate of Nigeria, who is the founder of Efe Babalola University, that was behind his arrest, and all was traceable to the book written by Farotimi, that's Nigeria and its criminal justice system. Somehow he dragged in the senior advocate of Nigeria. A lot of people have spoken about it, but right now we're going to give you full update of what is happening, because from all indication it seems we are not going to be seeing his face as soon as expected, despite the public outcry thus far. And according to the news, an Ado-Ekiti Magistrate Court on Wednesday remanded the Lagos-based human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi over an alleged case of defamation against Afe Babalola, senior advocate of Nigeria, the founder of Afe Babalola University. Farotimi, who was arrested at his chambers in Lagos on Tuesday by officers from Ekiti State Police Command, was arraigned for allegedly publishing a book, Nigeria Criminal Justice System, where he alleged that Afe Babalola corrupted the judiciary and procured judgment in the Supreme Court, thereby exposing him to hatred, contempt, ridicule, and damage his hard-earned career. The suspect, Dele Farotimi, pleaded not guilty to all the 16 count charges. Police prosecutor Samson Oshun called for the remand of the suspect in prison custody pending further investigation and its outcome for the maintenance of security in the country. Counsel to the defendant, Bayo Akeredolu, opposed the remand call and pleaded with the court to admit the defendant to bail on very liberal terms and on self-recognizance because the case at hand is bailable and the suspect is a known figure who is not constituting any threat. He said the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty. In his ruling, the presiding magistrate Baba Abayomi Adeosun remanded the suspect in prison custody and adjourned hearing till December 10. That's the latest as it has to do with Farotimi. But however, it's good we also have an idea of what Nigerians are saying. First of all, we're going to be looking at one man who is very close to Farotimi, talking about Sowore. He was the one who cried out that he was being arrested, and you can see the video there when he was being arrested. Somehow the CCTV camera picked it. Also, Peter Obi, who had also spoken about this MBA, all of that. Let's just look at it and their viewpoint. Then my colleagues in the house, and we're going to be talking about what the future looks like for Dele Farotimi. I think this is the first time I'm hearing that he's been committed to prison, but then we know him to be a very strong defender of human rights. But let's look at Peter Obi, what he has to say about the arrest of Farotimi. Peter Obi, in his page, said this, and I quote, "I just learned of the arrest of Dele Farotimi, a respected human rights lawyer and advocate, over an allegation of defamation. This action is a gross misuse of police power and a grave assault on the principle of democracy and justice in Nigeria. I condemn this action in totality. It represents not only an attempt to intimidate opposing voices from questioning authority, it is also a warning signal to every Nigerian who loves and values freedom of expression and to demand accountability and transparency. The Nigerian police force exists to protect the right of citizens, not to suppress them. Defamation, by its nature, is a civil matter that should be addressed in court through due legal process in line with the dictates of the rule of law in a democracy. As a private citizen, former governor, and even today I'm frequently defamed, insulted, and lied about and against, yet I have never resorted to using the Nigerian police or filing report to silence others. Those who feel otherwise should seek redress through the proper legal channels, not by weaponizing the police or abusing their access to authorities or state power. The resort to police action in this case reeks of abuse of power and raises serious concern about the independence and professionalism of the police as a civil force. I hereby request that Dele Farotimi should be released immediately and unconditionally. The police must recognize that their allegiance is to the Constitution and the people of Nigeria and not to narrow interest at the behest of those in power. A new, more just and fair Nigeria is possible. That was his position about it. So many other Nigerians have been also crying out, making demands for his arrest. NBA has also spoken up about it. My colleague is in the house, and there's something very interesting about this defamatory issue. When people are being defamed, it is believed that you get a court order or you take the person to court. They will serve him with the legal documents demanding his presence in court, and he will go there and defend himself. In event of him failing to do justice to whatever thing he had said, which is considered as defamation, he will be asked to pay some amount of money. But this case is different. Why did the senior advocate of Nigeria decide to resort to using police instead of, using the court, being that he is fully in the know of the importance of the demands of court?
Now that is where it gets tricky. The fact that this is not just a lawyer, but a senior advocate of Nigeria who understands the Nigerian Constitution and the law. And even Dele Farotimi is also a lawyer. He understands his rights and he knows his limitations. And even when they gave him a 16-count charge, he said not guilty to all.
Of course. So
both of them understand Nigerian Constitution to a great extent. They are all very learned. Some will call them, for the senior advocate of Nigeria, they'll call him a legal slick, who understand the dynamics of the Constitution. So when they begin to bring the interplay of the police, you just see that it's becoming a political tool. These days now it has become almost a norm for politicians to use police to do the work of courts, work of the judiciary. Policemen would do it. And sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes for that of police, it gives you quick action. Sharp. What you go to court, now do adjourn the case. Police will do the thing sharp. You're already in detention, everything sharp. They just move the cart before the horse, instead of the horse before the cart. Normally these are the processes you need to follow before you now finally get yourself in prison. But they just quickly move there. The whole thing has been, so to speak, bastardized. But now, if now we are looking at two people who understand the dynamics and the Constitution, then who then do we educate here? Because they are both learned and legal silk, especially the senior advocate. So you cannot, in all honesty, be advising him or educating him. It's now a case of, can we please follow the rule of law? But then again, I won't totally blame them, because they have same politicians use this same trick and it worked. Like Wike would say, heaven did not fall. So if heaven did not fall, politicians use it, why shouldn't I also use it? That is the problem with having a norm or someone bringing a new style.
And precedent.
Once you set that precedent, it's over. Others will just follow suit. Because the long route is a far route. You show a shortcut, Papa, it takes us to the promised land. Why should I go to the Israelite journey when I can just go to shortcut and I've gotten there? Nobody will go through that long route that will tell you to follow due process, to make you better for integrity's sake. It will say bland. In fact, at the end of the day, it's even the rogue that gets to the place faster. So why are we going through the long route?
The shocking aspect of it is the fact that the person who took him to court on behalf of the senior advocate of Nigeria talked about him being retained. I believe that before you talk about remanding someone in police custody, he may have had a history of fleeing the country, and Farotimi does not have any of such. So I'm really shocked that they had to go that extra mile by saying you have to keep him in prison and all of that.
It's just to me just a way of humbling him. Just a way of humbling him, and also the fact that he is with Peter Obi. Yeah, Farotimi is not a man that is not known. He's a bold and fearless man.
Yeah, of course.
He says what he says and he means what he said.
Now, I know a lot of Nigerians are just waiting to see if this is going to break him. Though I know he wrote that book and a lot of people have bought it, and so many people are talking about it. But do you think this will break him, this move by Babalola? And are also others whose case were quoted in this book, pointing to the criminalization of the judiciary? Do you think they may also do the part of Efe Babalola?
That's my greatest fear right now. The fact that when Efe Babalola is true, the other set to pick him up again. And it is now left for Nigerians, because if you listen, he didn't write it for himself. He wrote it for all to see. But then again, he's a lawyer, so he understands where or what he's dabbling into. Okay, so in all of this, it's up to Nigerians really to look on why they keep, because after they are done with him, other human rights activists, they'll start going for those who have been bold enough to do such. Dele Farotimi has been one who has been so bold to speak up without being scared as us as being God. So if whatever happens, they're able to tame him, quote and unquote, which I strongly doubted, because others may not allow it. The likes of Aisha Yusufu at some point will start reacting. So what will start reacting. The likes of Adeyoju, before you know it, other human rights activists start rising up, because injustice to one is injustice to all. There's this, synergy they all enjoy, protecting one another from whatever it is. But let's see how Nigerians themselves react to it.
All right, that's where we'd like to leave it. Let's meet in the comment section and talk more on this. What's your standpoint on the fact that Farotimi has finally been committed into prison? Do you think that this is a way